Hello friends, I hope you are all doing great. My name is Prashanth, I'm a food engineer and a nutritionist. So in this video, I'm going to talk about the health benefits, especially the mental health benefits of exercise. I think many of you already might be knowing the physical health benefits of exercise, regular exercise. In this video, I'm going to specifically talk about mental health benefits of exercise. First of all, we need to understand how big is the mental health problem in the world, right? So let's try to analyze the size of the problem, okay? So as you can see on the screen, 1 in 8 people globally lives with a mental disorder. This is as per the World Health Organization data. It was published in 2019. That was the latest data that we could find. So what happened after that is COVID. And I think many of you already know during the COVID time, the mental health epidemic has become much more severe. So even if you see the old data of 2019, 1 in 8 people and 970 million people, close to 1 billion, that is almost 97 crore people in the world are already suffering by then itself. So this is a serious problem, right? We have close to 7.5 billion people in the world and close to 1 billion people suffering from this mental health problem. That itself says how big this problem is. And if you see some of the statistics of country, some specific countries in the US, close to 26%, that is more than 1/4. Like if you take 4 adults, at least one person is suffering from mental disorder each year. That's a huge number, right? And if you just look at the Indian number, it is 1 in 7 Indians. So globally is 1 in 8 people, but in India it's 1 in 7. So that means in India there are more people who are suffering and struggling with these mental health disorders. And again, this was very old data, 2017 data. That's what we could find. There was no latest data available on this specific thing. And the thing is, see, I think by now you have already understood how big this problem is. Like 1 billion people across the world, and 1 in 4 people in the US, and 1 in 7 in India. And in real world, if you see, the problem will be much bigger than that. Because see, mental health problems are not like physical health problems. Like many times people don't accept that they have a certain mental health issues. And even the if you see the facilities available, like the number of psychiatrists or psychologists available, and the number of people who are ready to visit a psychiatrist and talk about their mental health problems, it is much lower, because there is a lot of stigma around mental health problems, right, across the world, not just in India or US, anywhere. If you see, almost all the countries, in many countries, people see mental health disorders in a slightly different way compared to physical health disorders. So what I'm trying to say here is that this problem is a very serious problem in the world. Like 1 billion is huge, right? So I think something needs to be done for to solve this problem. So that's what we are going to do. So in this video, we are going to give very simple solutions to either prevent or better manage mental health disorders. Okay, so when it comes to what are the different kinds of mental health disorders, the foremost ones are anxiety and depression. These are the biggest problems. And there is schizophrenia, and there are bipolar disorders, and there are some other problems also. But anxiety and depression, these are the biggest problems in the world. And I think even you might be aware of this, that at some point of life, in almost probably everybody's life, we go through anxiety, or we go through some kind of depression. Yes, sometimes we come out of that relatively easily or over a period of time, but some people struggle a lot. I mean, this is happening in many parts of the world because of various reasons, right? Let's start the presentation. So the signs of happiness after a workout, like if you have observed, I mean, if you have done any physical activity like brisk walking or cycling, or if you have played any sport with your friends, colleagues, anybody, you might have observed that after the workout, after any physical activity, you feel a sense of happiness, a sense of satisfaction or calmness sometimes. So even I do, I exercise very regularly, and I felt many times that exercise or physical activity has some positive thing about it, right? So many times I used to feel very like calm and cool, very happy, just before the exercise. Probably if I was going through some negative thought or something like that, I used to feel very, very happy after that. So, and it is not just a coincidence. Actually, there is science behind that, right? That is what we are going to explain in the subsequent slides. So happiness after a workout is actually scientifically proven, right? It's not just a coincidence, or just some of you sometimes are feeling happy after the exercise. It's not like that. Actually, there is science behind that, right? As I have been speaking, there are anyhow physical health benefits that are attached to exercise, right? So if you see the physical health benefits of exercise, there are so many benefits from that. Like, for example, if you take hypertension, in the world there are 1.27 billion people, 127 crore people who already have hypertension, who are struggling from hypertension. And the biggest problem with diseases like hypertension, diabetes is that many people are not aware that they have this problem, right? If you take hypertension, hardly in the world only 40 or 50% of people are actually, they know that they have hypertension. And there is another statistic that says that out of 5 people who have hypertension, only one is actually maintaining the blood pressure levels in a right range, right, in the correct range. That means 4 out of 5 people who are suffering from hypertension, they are not maintaining their blood pressure readings in the correct range, right? So anyhow, there are so many benefits, like physical health benefits, like prevention of hypertension or better management of hypertension, diabetes, many cancers, even lower back pain. There are so many joint pains, like there are so many health problems, physical health problems, for which exercise is already a very good solution. How exercise works for your brain? So let's try to understand the mechanism behind that. Okay, so exercise actually promotes brain changes physically, right? So what happens is, like maybe if you look at like 20 or 30 years ago, people used to think that in the scientific community, people used to think that the brain, once it has formed completely, right, there are not many physical changes that happen in the brain unless there is some injury, accident or something. But in the recent research studies, it was found out that brain keeps changing throughout the life, depending on what kind of food you eat, depending on how physically active you are, and how you're dealing with your mental stress, right? So all these activities, what kind of environment you are living in, right? Your personal relationships with people, right? Your family members, your colleagues, friends, and everything, right? All these things actually physically make changes in your brain, right? So the thing is, if we take care of our health, right? If we exercise regularly, if we eat healthy food, high nutrient, low calorie food, right? And if we also try to manage our stress in a better way, whatever better way possible, right? I'm not saying that 100% you should try to avoid mental stress. That is impossible. That's not practical at all, right? So, but if we try to manage it as much as possible, right? So that can actually have a positive effect on our mental health, on our brain physically, right? If you see exercise, it promotes neural growth. So neurons are the cells of our brain, right? So exercise, it increases the growth of neurons. It also makes the health of neurons better, right? So it also reduces inflammation, right? Inflammation across the body in all the cells and organs is a serious problem, and that is one of the reasons why people get so many diseases, right? So, and exercise is proven to reduce inflammation, right? And it also promotes calmness, the sense of satisfaction and happiness and calmness, a peaceful kind of feeling is, one of the effects of exercise, right? And if you see, exercise releases endorphins. I think you might have already heard about them. So they can reduce pain and enhance well-being. And it's this concept is called as runner's high, right? I think it doesn't only work for running. It works for other forms of exercise also. So when you have performed a certain kind of physical activity, it can be brisk walking, running, jogging, cycling, rowing, There are so many different kinds of exercise activities or even sports like soccer, hockey, any sports that you like. So when you have performed these things, your brain releases these chemicals, right? And those chemicals, they bring a certain set of happiness, and they can reduce the pain also, right? So that is what is endorphins, and we have serotonin and dopamine. These are also brain chemicals that can regulate your mood and emotions. I mean, these are the reasons why you feel that kind of happiness, the satisfaction, after the exercise or after any kind of physical activity. So boosting mental health through exercise. Okay. So as per ADAA, so this is Anxiety and Depression Association of America. Yes, that kind of organization exists. Okay. So as per them, just exercising for 5 minutes, right? Once you start exercising, and right after 5 minutes, you already start getting those anti-anxiety effects, right? So exercise can stimulate anti-anxiety effects once you have done just 5 minutes of exercise. Of course, that is not sufficient, right? So I'm going to explain in the subsequent slides like what is the exercise time that you should try to aim, like weekly. Definitely I'm going to talk about that. But as per this association, just 5 minutes, like once you start doing exercise for just 5 minutes, the effects already start, which is a good thing. So many times I also observed this, like till I used to, I mean, throughout the day I used to think, okay, I need to start exercising, but there is some kind of inertia, when you are about to start. But once I have started, I used to exercise for very, very long time, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, 50 minutes sometimes. But that there is that little bit of inertia in between, I think, for everybody. So the thing is, once you start exercising, you feel like doing it more and more. Probably, this also one of the reasons for that. Once you start exercising, you start already feeling so good about that you continue to do it for longer time, right? So that's the thing. And also it acts as a distraction to break negative thought cycles. This is also very important, because what happens is, especially for example, let's assume that you had a very bad experience at your office, at your workplace, whether it is office or your school, if you are studying in school, anything. If we, for example, had a very bad experience at school, that thought keeps lingering. I mean, the thought keeps coming back to our mind, and we are in a cycle of negative thoughts, right? Sometimes even the problem might be very, very small problem, or the issue might have been very simple, but we keep thinking about that, and our brain makes it look much, much bigger than it actually is, right? So exercise acts as a distraction. So what you are, for example, instead of just sitting idle or lying down and keep thinking about that problem again and again, if you just go and, let's say, go out and do some brisk walking or do cycling or rowing or any kind of exercise, actually you forget that. Like it is like a distraction. Like sometimes distractions are good, right? So in this way, this can break the negative thought cycle, and once we come out of that negative thought cycle, actually we can think much better. That is why I think probably you might have thought about it many times, like the problems that we have, when we are going through certain problems. If we are constantly thinking about that problem looks like a very, very difficult problem that we can't solve anymore. I mean, there are so many issues, there are so many complexities in the problem, but once we leave that thought and, once we are distracted and go somewhere and do something else and come back, like we feel like, what is there in that? This is such a simple problem. Why I have been thinking so difficult, so tough about this problem? That is what we feel. So that kind of distraction is also sometimes important, and exercise works as a distraction in that case. So this is also one of the reasons why how this exercise helps you avoid that kind of negative thought cycles, and in that way it can help your mental health also, right? Let's continue. So what are the best exercises then? Like there are so many options. Basically there are 3 types of exercises, okay, which I'm going to talk about: aerobic exercises, strength exercises or strength training, right? And the third thing is stretching exercises. So if you look at what are aerobic exercises, running, cycling, brisk walking, dancing, there are so many other options. In cycling itself, there are so many different options, like you can do indoor cycling, you can do outdoor cycling. There are different kinds of cycling equipment, right? You can do rowing, There are actually many options, and even many of the sports that you can play also come into this aerobic form, like soccer, hockey, different kinds of those sports. These can improve your cognitive function, focus and vitality. So what happens is when you are exercising, right, what happens is your heart sends more blood to the brain, right? So this can solve, I mean, this can make your brain work better, right? So these are the benefits of aerobic activities. And if you look at the strength training, so strength training is anything that involves weight training. So basically using the dumbbells, lifting dumbbells, and anything where you are putting weight on your muscles and you're working against them, basically, right? So they build muscles, they sharpens your mind and instills discipline. So actually, if you have ever exercised in both ways, like aerobic and strength, so there is a clear difference. I mean, you feel the difference when you are doing strength training. It gives you certain kind of confidence, like, because whenever you are lifting weights, your muscles get stronger, right? If you do it continuously for a long period of time, actually it gives a different kind of effect, like, right? And actually this strength training makes your body look much better, like the way you see yourself and the way other people see you also changes, because when you're building muscles, so muscles actually take more energy at rest, right? For example, if you have 10 kgs of fat, right, fat cells, and 10 kg of muscle cells, right, when they're at rest, so these fat cells on the left take much lesser energy, right? Whereas muscles, when they are rest also, they need much more energy, they use up much more energy. So what happens is, if you are doing strength training, right, if you are building muscles, actually that can prevent weight gain, right? Because at rest also your body is consuming more calories than typical fat cells, right? So strength training is very useful in that perspective. So the third form of exercise is stretching exercises, basically yoga, deep breathing, and that tai chi, that kind of exercises. So especially if you see these exercises, they also offer certain new kind of feeling for you, right? For example, if you see deep breathing actually, if you do it regularly, let's say 15 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes per day on most days of the week, if you consistently do it for, let's say, 20 or 25 days, you actually start to feel difference. I mean, you can feel the difference, that you feel calmness actually, even in very tough situations. So what happens is, the deep breathing, especially what people call as meditation, is deep breathing basically. So if you do that, you can handle even very stressful situations in a much better way. That's what I felt. So deep breathing is actually proven to reduce your mental stress, right? So many years ago, I was not believing that. I was just thinking that there is a lot of hype about this deep breathing or meditation, and it actually doesn't work or something like that. But I read a lot of research articles on that, and I tried myself, right, implementing that deep breathing in my life. So it actually works. I could clearly feel the difference. The amount of mental patience was significantly higher, and even the way I was able to handle stressful situations was much better when I was doing this. Deep breathing, and I'm still doing that. So just try to aim for 10 to 15 minutes of deep breathing in a day on most days of the week. So don't expect that you get the results immediately. Like anything, even it is, whether it is aerobic exercises or strength training or stretching exercise, it takes some time for you to get the effects, right? So at least try to do it for 15 to 20 days continuously, and then you will start feeling the difference. You'll definitely start feeling the difference. I can tell you with 100% confidence. So all these exercises can definitely help your physical health, and they also help your mental health, right? So let's see. Yeah, I was telling you about how much time should be incorporated, right? So it is, as per the World Health Organization and many other health authorities across the world, 150 minutes of moderate level activity per week. Okay, this is basically 2.5 hours of physical activity per week if it is moderate level, right? So It includes anything like brisk walking or jogging, simple exercises like doing slow cycling and things like that. And if you can do it vigorously, right, if you can do harder exercises like running faster and doing fast cycling or uphill cycling and tougher exercises where your heart goes higher than moderate level, right? So then it is just 75 minutes, like that is just 1 hour 15 minutes for the entire week. Okay, so even if you take 150 minutes, see 150 minutes is just 2.5 hours, right? In a week we have 168 hours total, like 24 hours multiplied by 7 days, right? So it is 168 hours. So out of 168 hours, if you can just spend 2.5 hours of your time in exercising, it can prevent majority of the diseases. I mean, there are hundreds of research articles on this, and there was a research article that I was reading. I think in the future I will do the review of that research article and I explain also. So it has shown all the close to 50 to 70 diseases that it can either prevent or better manage, right, which I have been already speaking, like hypertension, diabetes, many cancers, joint pains, obesity, overweight problem. All these are very well managed or prevented by exercise, and you just need to do it for 2.5 hours out of 168 hours that you have. So the thing is, where there is a will, there is a way. If you think that I don't have time for 2.5 hours, then I think something is wrong with your time management, or you don't have the motivation to do it. I think what I would like to suggest is, see, aim for 150 minutes, right? But don't stop doing it at all completely if you are not able to do that much time, or if you are thinking that there are not good results that you are getting. So many times what happens is, see, if you are aiming for, let's say, weight loss, like what happens is many times people aim for weight loss and they see that exercise is the way in which they can get weight loss. And once they are not able to lose weight significantly, they stop doing exercise, right? It is a very, very wrong approach, because the aim of exercise is not just weight loss. There are so many benefits of physical activity that I have been already speaking in the presentation, right? So it is much beyond weight loss. And if you are not losing weight, still even if you are doing exercise, there might be something wrong with your diet, what kind of food you are eating, right? So try to aim for 150 minutes of exercise in a week. Aim for that. Like if you cannot reach that, it's okay, but keep doing it and try to aim that. And that can definitely have a positive impact on your physical health as well as mental health, right? So regarding the strength training, so it is 2 sessions of 15 minutes in a week. So that is about 30 minutes of strength training. This is also suggested. So earlier, I mean, few decades ago, few years ago, this suggestion was not there, right? So now it is also incorporated, because strength training is also important, especially as you age, right? So what happens is, as people age, as we age, we tend to lose muscle mass, right? The amount of muscle mass we have, let's say at 20 years of age, is not same as when we are at 40 years or 60 years of age. As people age, the amount of muscle mass keeps going down. So to maintain that muscle mass and muscle strength, both are important. To do that, we have to aim for 15 minutes or 2 sessions of 15 minutes in a week. So even if you mix both of them, it is just 3 hours. If it is 150 minutes of moderate plus 30 minutes of your strength training, both of them together is just 3 hours, right? And how can you achieve your exercise goals? Like, set achievable goals that align with your aspirations. So what I was talking about is if you cannot do it for 150 minutes, for example, if you're a very, very busy person and if you genuinely cannot find 150 minutes, you should try to find out, because what happens is every second that you spend on exercise, it is not a waste of your time. Actually, you will get much more in return, because you will become more efficient, you will become more healthy, right? You will become more powerful also. So the same thing that you are doing right now, if you are much more healthy, if you are much more fit, you will be able to do them much better, much faster, much more efficiently, right? So technically it is not a waste of time, right? Don't think that 3 hours of my time is just going waste and I can't afford that, because that is not meaningful, right? So try to set achievable goals. I'm not saying that right now, today itself, you should aim for 3 hours of exercise. No, initially start with, let's say, 10 to 15 minutes per day. Keep doing that for 2 to 3 weeks, then try to increase it to 20 minutes. I mean, if you have not been doing any exercise so far, so try to start slowly, right? Try at 10 to 15 minutes and then do it for 2 to 3 weeks, then slowly increase it to 20 minutes, do it for another 2 to 3 weeks, and then slowly go to 30 minutes range. And if you want, you can go higher than that also. Up to 1 hour you can go, right, for exercise if you are an adult, right? And if it is for children, 1 hour of exercise on most days of the week is already suggested. Children, they should do exercise for longer time compared to adults, right? So, and consistency is key in exercise. Why I'm talking about this is, see, for example, many times what happens is when people see certain videos or when they get inspiration from maybe some ad or something, so they start exercising a lot with lot of enthusiasm, and they exercise heavily, like 1 hour or 1.5 hours per day for like 1-2 months, and they totally stop after that. So that is not good, right? If you are exercising, let's say only 20 minutes per day, right? But consistently doing that for years and years, that is actually important. That is going to have an effect on your health, right? So consistency is very, very important, and you can only consistently exercise when you think it is part of your life, right? Exercise has to be a part of life. Like we are eating food, we are working, we are doing our job, right? We take bath, most of us take bath almost every day, like multiple times a day, right? In the same way, exercise, you have to think that it is a part of your life, because it can actually save your life. You know, there are so many studies that say that people who exercise regularly live 10 years longer, right? 10 years. And not only longer, they're going to live in a much more healthy way, right? They fall sick much lesser than, you know, other people. So they will be able to do everything better in their life. So consistency is definitely important. It's not that how much hard or, you know, how many hours you do in a day and just stop it after that. It's not like that. If you're doing it 30 minutes, that too 150 minutes is what? Basically in 7 days, try to aim for 5 minutes, 5 days, right? 5 days, 30 minutes, that is 150, right? And strength training, yeah, you can do it any day on those 5 days, or that's up to you, right? Basically, you can exercise for 5 days in 7 days week, right? Basically, in a week we have 7 days. If you do it for 5 days also, 30 minutes, that is good enough. So whatever is possible for you, if you want to do it every day 20 minutes, that is also fine. That's up to you. You can adjust accordingly as per your time, your energy, everything, you know, your schedule, everything. So choose enjoyable forms of exercise. This is also very important, because what happens is whenever people think of exercising, many times people think of very few forms of exercise. For example, elderly people, most like 40 plus adults, many people 60 plus adults, when they are trying to start some exercise form, they mostly think that, okay, let's start with walking. And they start with walking and end up with walking. The only thing that they do is walking, and that too in a same place, same environment. So over a period of time, it can get very boring, right? If you're doing the same thing all the time, it's difficult to continue doing that. So try to choose, first of all, what are the exercise forms that you can actually enjoy. For example, in my case, let me explain this. So when I decided to start exercising seriously many years ago, right? So then I thought, okay, what is the exercise or any physical activity, sport that I really used to enjoy during my school days? I thought about it seriously. So I remembered that when I was in school, I used to go to my school. It was quite far, like 1 to 2 kilometers, maybe more than that. So I used to go to my school on my bicycle, right? Bicycle. So I used to enjoy that a lot. So I thought, okay, why not start that right now? So I started doing cycling, and I actually really started enjoying that, and I'm doing that like for many years now, right? In the same way, try to remember when you are in school, or when you are doing when you are in college, university, or anything, what was the physical activity that you used to really enjoy, right? Because if you have to do something consistently day in and day out, you should enjoy that. Otherwise, it's very difficult to do it, keep doing it. It gets boring over a period of time. So try to choose enjoyable forms of exercise. It can be anything. If you like rowing, do that. If you like cycling, jogging, running, playing cricket or soccer, or any sport or table tennis, there are so many options, It's not that there are no options. Only thing is that we need to keep our vision wide, and we have to see all the options that are there, and just choose the ones that you actually enjoy, right? So flexibility in your exercise, that is what I have been talking about already. Be flexible with your exercise choices, and not only choices, one more thing, like sometimes what happens is when people try to form good or healthy habits, like for example, let's say I want to start exercising and my friend also wants to start exercising. So what happens is we both think that, okay, let's start exercising together. We go for exercising like walking or anything during the evening time, and there comes a break sometimes, that happens, right? Because maybe you are busy, you have some work that you can't avoid that at that specific point of time, or your friend has some that kind of work. So what happens is the chain breaks sometimes, and after that people don't continue that anymore. This I have heard this from many people, right? So that's the reason you have to be flexible. Like for example, if you see, the journey of health is unique to you. It is your personal journey. So in case your friend or your colleague or your spouse is not able to exercise along with you because of some reasons, you have to keep doing it. You have to be flexible, right? So don't think that I don't have anybody to do it, I alone cannot do it, so it's boring for that, boring for me, so I can't do that. I think that is not right. You choose. There are so many forms of exercises you can do alone, and you can also do with other people, right? So try to have that flexibility. For example, let's say in the earlier case, for example, your friend is not able to come with you for exercise. You should have an idea of some other exercise which you will be able to do it alone with yourself, right? So be flexible with that. The aim is that you have to exercise, whatever it is, whatever are the forms of exercise that you can find. Maybe go to some sports where sports kind of shops, Decathlon. There are so many such stores, right? Go and see there, and you'll find so many options. So many options actually. It's not that there are not many options if you want to exercise. There are so many options. In fact, if you see, there are too many options. Only thing is that we are not flexible enough. We are not choosing multiple options. So coming to my experience, so I started with brisk walking first, when I was exercising. Yes, I was doing cycling also, but I was doing brisk walking. Then over a period of time, I got a little bit bored of that. Then I bought a cycle, indoor cycle. So I started doing that indoor cycling. Then I bought, after 2-3 years, I bought an outdoor cycle also. So I started doing outdoor cycling. Though it is cycling, you have a different experience. If it is indoor or outdoor, you'll have a clearly different experience, right? And I started doing other forms. I started doing strength training. I was playing table tennis. There were so many other options that I incorporated, like so that I keep doing it, because ultimately we should not stop it. Consistency is key. It is very important. The number of years, the more you do it, the more your body becomes better and better, right? You'll have long-term healthier effects, right? So whatever I have spoken so far, this is taken from well-researched articles. I mean, if you are interested to learn more about all these things like exercise, mental health and all this, you can go through all these references, and we are going to mention these references in the YouTube description also. I think this inspires you to really incorporate and make exercise a part of your life, because exercise is one of the cheapest, most affordable, most accessible forms of healthcare, right? See, what do you need to start exercising, right? If you want to do brisk walking, for example, if you can afford walking shoes, it's okay. But even if you don't have walking shoes, you can, if you have good sandals or chappal, you can just do with them. Like, okay, you need to take maybe a little bit more breaks, and you need to manage that. But technically, if you have a park near your home, or if you have some residential streets where there is not much traffic and pollution, you can just go out and just walk, right? It doesn't cost you anything. It costs a little bit of time, that's it. But whatever you are spending on exercise, you get in return multiple levels of that. I mean, multiple returns you get from whatever time you are spending, right? So the thing is, exercise is something that I can suggest to anybody, whether you are poor or whether you are ultra rich or whatever. So exercise is something that can be done by anybody, literally. right? So you don't need very costly equipment or accessories or anything like that. You start with something simple. If you just want to start exercising, yeah, if you have never done exercise for ever in your life, and if you are older, it's better to try to consult a physician and just check your vitals, like how is your blood pressure and blood glucose levels and things like that. Definitely you should do that. But if you have already been physically active, just to try to stick to that plan and try to increase the level of physical activity to the recommended levels, so that you are going to have all the benefits of physical activity. And this is, as I am saying, this is one of the cheapest, most affordable, most accessible forms of preventive health care, right? Because prevention is at any point of time better than cure. Once you have once you are diagnosed with hypertension or diabetes or cancers or joint pains, knee pains, lower back pain, all these things, once you are diagnosed with them, you need to manage them. I mean, it gets more difficult to manage them. It's better that you prevent them, right? When we have so many options of exercises and it's not that costly. Even if you spend some money and buy some exercise equipment, for example, I bought multiple indoor cycles, and they're not very costly actually. So you can buy them, and what if you use them properly, actually you get the return on investment is much higher actually, right? So I think this video inspires you to make exercise a part of your life, and it not only makes your physical health better, it also significantly, seriously improves your mental health. So thanks a lot for watching, and if you have any questions, please ask us in the comments section in YouTube, and please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and click the bell icon so that you get the notifications, right? So thanks a lot for watching. We hope to see you in our next video.